Ready? Okay. It was July of 2020, and we had started training churches, and we trained 32 churches in 2020 during COVID. We went from Idaho to New Hampshire, Texas to Florida, and in between. Churches still had us. In fact, we were surprised that we were not canceled but one time all year long. We just kept training churches how to evangelize. That year, we baptized 349 people in 2020. It was an incredible year. I mean, we could reach people that I think at other times we could have never reached. Our encouragement to the church is don't shut down. Keep evangelizing. You have an opportunity right now to reach people you could not have reached last year. So it was a busy time. And I looked over at my wife and I said, honey, I said, August 10th is coming. That's our anniversary. I said, we're supposed to be in St. Mary's, Georgia. I said, why don't we take a few days and just relax? She said, what do you mean? I said, St. Mary's is on the beach. I said, why don't we go up a few days early and let's celebrate anniversary? She said, well, that sounds good. What do you want to do? I said, I want to go deep sea fishing. I said, I've never been deep sea fishing and I want to go. She said, well, okay, I'm game. So I called down to the preacher. I said, preacher, I said, I want to go deep sea fishing. He said, man, this is the deep sea fishing capital of the world. Some of the best captains in the world are in. He said, in fact, he said, under most conditions, you'd never get in. You're too late. But no one's doing anything. I mean, they just are allowing the captains to go out, and they have wide open schedules. So he said, let me give you the best captain in the area. And I called him. He said, sure, I'll take you. I said, yes. I said, I tell you what. He said, it's me and my first mate. He gave me the charge. I said, just be me and my family. He said, all right, I'll take you out. I said, Captain, I said, what time should I meet you at the dock? He said, 3 o'clock. I said, that doesn't give us a lot of time to fish. He said, no, son, 3 in the morning. 3 in the morning. I said, okay. I said, how am I going to explain this to my wife? But okay. I said, all right, sir, when I get out there at 3 o'clock in the morning, how will I know it's you? He says, son, I'll be the only one there. I said, well, okay, I understand. I said, so I told my wife, now 3 o'clock in the morning, honey, we're going to go out, we're going to go out in this dock. So we got out there. Sure enough, only person there, captain and his first mate. So they're explaining the regulations, giving us the safety tour, get us on the boat. And he said, son, you just hunker down. It's going to be a long time. Oh, by the way, what kind of fish you want? I said, the big stuff. He said, it's going to be a long time, son, just hunker down. So I said, I don't want any inshore. I want way out there. He said, I'll get you the big stuff. Don't worry. So we hunker down and we go. 3-4 hours. It's dark, pitch dark. Finally, the sun starts peeking over the horizon, and he slows the boat down. He said, all right. He said, time to catch bait. I said, bait? He said, yeah, you're going to catch your own bait. And I said, okay. He gives everybody poles. We got treble hooks, multiple hooks on the line. He said, he throws it out there. He said, all right, everybody, hold on. And he's got this equipment, sonar equipment up there. He is prepared. He looks at the equipment. He said, got it. 5, everybody ready? 4, 3, 2, 1. Get it. Pull them in. And I pulled it in. I had bait fish all over my line. We all did. It was incredible. He said, take the bait off, put it in the live well. So we're putting the chat or whatever it was in the live well, throwing it in there, He said, all right, hunker down, everybody. We got about another hour. I'm looking out and said, where are we going, He said, I'm going to get you your big fish. So I hunkered down. Another hour later, he pulls the boat to a stop, and he says, all right, who wants to go first? I'd like to try it. He said, first mate? He says, hook him in. Hook me in? He said, yeah, we got to put your gear on. Gear? He said, so son, you got to have gear for these fish. So he puts gear on me, right? And he's strapping me in so I don't go anywhere. So I got a pole. I didn't know they make fishing poles like this. This thing is as big as my arm, And he says, all right, put the bait on there. And we throw the line way out there. It's way out there. He's got this equipment again. He's looking at it, right? He goes, all right, get ready, son. He said, 5, 4. He said, son, be ready, first mate. 3, 2, 1. All of a sudden, I'm telling you what, that line, he said, there it is. And the line, it just went straight down. And I'm holding it. He said, son, hold it, son. He said, pull it back. And I'm pulling it as hard as I could. He said, no slack, son. Keep it straight up, straight up. He said, all right, reel a little bit. It was huge. It was a kingfish. There's a reason they're called kingfish. They're king. It's a massive. I've never seen a fish like this in my life. It took me a while to get the thing in, I finally get it in. You don't pull a fish like this into the boat. You pull it on to the boat. And so you pull it, and just as we're about to pull it onto the boat, a barracuda came. There's a reason it's called a barracuda. It took half my kingfish with it. It literally came out of the water, sliced through it like a hot butter knife, right through it, and went down. And I had half a kingfish. It was still massive. By 2 o'clock that afternoon, we had our limit. My dad, myself, my wife, and my 2 children were heading home. That captain, he knew his trade. He knew everything there was about fishing. He knew where to get bait. He knew where to get the big fish. He knew he had the tackle. He had the latest state-of-the-art equipment. This guy was prepared. He had dedicated his life to it. He had spent time studying it. He had the latest equipment. He had the best lures. He had all the jigs set. Everything I need, he had it. I think we have men in the Church of Christ tonight. And I think we have men in our pews, even maybe tonight. And you're more prepared to go get the big buck than you are to go out there and save a soul. We got men that spare no expense. You go out there and get the best climbing equipment. You get the best deer cameras. It's not good enough that we have deer cameras with SD cards. No, we get them with Wi-Fi now. And we track them. We can sit there in our office and we can literally watch when the buck comes by. We know what time it comes. We got feeders. Oh, not just any feeders. We got automatic feeders. We know when to feed them. We know exactly when they're coming. We spare no expense. We go out there and get the best plot, the food plots. We get the seed sown. We got the best gun. We got not just one gun. We got multiple guns. We got the best ammunition. We sight it in. We read the deer hunting magazine. We watch the YouTube. Brethren, we're prepared for the big buck. No one gets upset that they get up at 3 o'clock in the morning to get the big buck. And you know, right now, tonight, we have men in our churches that are more prepared to go get the catfish than they are to go win a soul. And they spare no expense. They go out to get the bass boat. They go out to get the best fishing equipment. They go out to get the latest and the greatest. Oh, they're prepared. They don't complain. I wonder how prepared we are tonight to go win souls. I just wonder tonight if you will go out there with the same vigor, if you'll go out there with the same energy, if you're going to use the same passion, if you're going to use the same intent to reach your neighbor with the gospel of Christ that you do a buck. This nation is headed for catastrophe until the men stand up and lead their homes. Brother, we must teach our homes how to evangelize again. We must teach the church. We must focus our sons. We must focus our families. We've got to focus on lost people, because if we don't do that, this nation will not be saved. The Bible says righteousness exalts a nation, and sin is a reproach to any people. The only way this nation makes it is for righteousness to rise from the pews, to rise from the churches. It's not coming from Washington, D.C. It could come from this church, from this congregation. If we'll just do our job. The question is, will you do it? I'm going to give you 10 things right now this church can do to turn things around. Winston Churchill stood before the Commons of Great Britain, and his country was in trouble. The Prime Minister at the time was Neville Chamberlain. Neville Chamberlain was he was a mess. He was a wreck. Couldn't have been worse. His nation was falling apart. I mean, the morale of the people was at an all-time low. The Nazis were bringing in the Luftwaffe. It was coming in every night, bombing London, taking down their cities. War was on the horizon. France was falling. And do you know what Neville Chamberlain wanted to do? Peace talks with Hitler. There was one man that said it's unacceptable. There will be no peace. We must fight. His name was Winston Churchill. Winston Churchill had an opportunity to make a speech before Parliament. It was a speech that would forever change the landscape of that country, and it changed the world. He went before the Commons of England, and this is what he said. He who fails to plan is planning to fail. My fellow countrymen, we have no plan, and we're going to lose this war. My brethren, we have no plan, and we're losing this war. Most churches of Christ are shooting from the hip. They have no plan to reach the lost in their community. They're just in survival mode. They're just trying to keep the doors open. There are people all around them that are lost. We have no plan to reach them. We want to reach them. We love them. We just don't know how. Brother, we need a plan. And I'm going to give it to you. Number one, we have to equip our members with the tools to do the job. We don't send soldiers out to fight wars without weaponry. We don't send them without the boots they need, the food they need, the clothes they need, the equipment they need. Our brethren, by and large, are not prepared to meet in battle Satan and sin. They don't have what they need. They don't have the equipment. I walked into one church and I asked an elder, I said, brethren, I said, if I was a member of this church, and he's an elder in the church, I said, and I wanted to do a Bible study with a neighbor of mine, I said, I have a question for you. Do you have the equipment for me to do the job? He said, what do you mean? I said, do you have a Bible study method? Oh, preacher, we are prepared for that. Follow me. So we walk down this long hallway, right? We're walking down this hallway. He's turning on lights, you know. We get to the end of the hallway. He said, preacher, they're in here. He tries to open the door. The door was locked. It's all right. He had the ring of keys. He brought it out. We went through all of them. We finally got into the door. We unlocked the door, turned the lights on. He said, preacher, there they are. We walked back to the locker. Of course, it was locked. Don't worry, we had the ring of keys. We brought them out again. We went through all the keys. We got into the locker. He pulled out a stack of Back to the Bible. He says, preacher, here it is. We're prepared. I said, brother, I'm so glad you have those, but I have a question. Why are the tools needed to teach someone the gospel of Christ locked in a room and locked in a locker? He said, oh, preacher, we were afraid someone might get them. Isn't that the point? Don't we want them to get them? Why are we hiding them in the preacher's office? Brethren, if you want to evangelize, get the equipment to do the job and put it out there where the brethren can get it. I've never been to a church of Christ that was not prepared for a fellowship meal. Never been to one. Every church of Christ I attend has salt, pepper, and sugar. Coffee, coffee pot, coffee maker, coffee stir, coffee cup, coffee grind, coffee maker. We have oven, stove, microwave, ice. We have everything we need to open a soup kitchen. We have table, chairs, we have napkins, we have fork, spoon, knife, tablecloth. We are fully prepared, and we will always be prepared. And something tells me that if we ran out of spoons, we wouldn't have a budgetary meeting about it. We just go get them. And we have everything we need to open a local school. I mean, we go into our workroom and our classrooms, and we got crayons and markers and scissors and safety scissors. And we have glue, and we have glue sticks. And we have everything we have poster, colored paper, die-cut machines, copy machines, paper. We have everything we need to open a school. My question is this for our churches. Where is the equipment to do Bible studies? Where is the equipment that we need to go teach someone who does not believe in God? Where is the equipment that we need to go teach someone who maybe just needs one study? Where is the equipment we need to teach someone who does not believe that Jesus Christ is real? Where is the equipment to bring to people who maybe we need just to bring them, teach them, new converts, new people in the community? Where is all the equipment at? I'm just sad to say that most of our churches do not have it. That's the first thing I do. I fix that. Just for your information, that's already been fixed here. The elders have already fixed that. Number two, we got to put it out where people can get it. Because if you hide it in the preacher's office, they're not going into Ron's office. Ron, do y'all have a library here at this church? They're not going to the library. It's the most, next to the baptistry, it's the most unused room in the church building. They're just not going there. So where must we put it? We must put a table in the foyer, and we must put it right in front of them where they would have to literally trip over it to get around it. And we have to equip the people with evangelism material. We have to put out the Back to the Bible, the open Bible study, the searching for truth, whatever it is you're going to use. We got to put it out there. We got to put the Bibles out there. We got to put the muscle and the shovels out there. We got to put the DVDs out there. We got to put the door hangers out there. We got to put the contact cards out there. We need to put the bookmarks out there. We need to put the illustrations out there. We need to put the materials out there so people can get to it. We do not need to hide the materials. So create an evangelism table. It should say something like, welcome, we salute you. And then put the name of the congregation on the table. You can order this. It's very inexpensive. Put a table out there where brethren can actually get the materials, where they can do the job that they need to do. These are not difficult steps. If you went to your place of employment and you were required to do something and they did not provide you the tools to do it, they would go bankrupt. They would not say, well, go buy the tools. No, if you need to use a forklift, you're expected to provide the forklift. If you need to use a DeWalt drill, in order to do your job, they're going to give you the DeWalt drill. Put a DeWalt drill in the hands, by the way, of a master craftsman. It's a beautiful tool. Put it into someone's hand that's never been trained. It's a deadly weapon. You know what the third thing we need to do is train people how to use the tools. You know, Back to the Bible looks nice, but if you don't train your members how to use Back to the Bible, it's a waste of money. So I literally know of churches right now that spend thousands of dollars on materials and they never train them how to use them. I literally have conferences with elders. I will have a meeting with your eldership in 3 months. And I will ask them, one of the things I'm going to ask, have you trained the church yet how to use Back to the Bible? I do that commonly. And I have some churches, after 3 months, after 6 months, brethren, they have still not been able, they have still not trained a church. They do not know how to do it. It is amazing that we have members in our pews who do not know how to study the Bible. And we do not train them. One of you came up to me last night and they said, Rob, I think I can do it. But I need someone to train me. Don't worry, you will be. Because we need to train our members how to do it. We need to train them how to use Back to the Bible. Doesn't matter. Believe the Bible. Whatever it is that you're going to use, teach them. You'd be surprised how some of the widow ladies might actually go do a Bible study with their neighbor if you just would show them how to do it. Does the average church member know how to do a Bible study? No. Well, we're going to leave that for the schools of preaching, and we are failing. Was it ever God's intent to leave evangelism to the schools of preaching? Is that how God designed the church? Whose job is it to train members? Tell me, whose job is it?
Those who are leading the congregation.
That's right. It's our job. We have to train our members how to do this. Number 4. We've got to create an evangelistic atmosphere in our church. In other words, we've got to make sure that our church understands that everything we do revolves around reaching lost people. It doesn't revolve around banquets and dinners and birthday parties and anniversary celebrations and senior day and whatever else it is that churches do. No, it revolves around evangelism. How many works of the church are there?
3.
3. What are they? What are the 3 works of the church? Help me, everybody.
Edification.
Edification.
Benevolence.
Benevolence.
Preaching the gospel.
Okay, preaching the gospel. All 3 of those have one purpose. What's the one purpose of all of them? Saving souls. That's it. If your benevolent work is not focused on saving souls, I have a suggestion for you. Shut it down. You are not the soup kitchen. Your job is not to feed all the poor of Ohio. You can't do it. Jesus said the poor will always be with you. What's the job of benevolence? The job of benevolence is to help people see the compassion of Christ so we can study the gospel. Do you know what most churches do? They do benevolence for benevolence sake. Why do you do benevolence? Oh, I'm supposed to do benevolence. Why did you give the food out? Oh, I'm supposed to give food. Why did you give them food? I'm supposed to give food out. But the Lions Club gives food out. The Goodwill helps people. The soup kitchen feeds people. What's the difference between the soup kitchen and you? It should be because you teach the gospel of Christ. But most of our benevolent ministries don't do that. We have to make sure that every work we do centers on saving souls. I'm going to give you one example of this. I'm just going to pull out benevolence and show you a quick way to fix this. Hello? Yes, my name's Ron. Yes, I'm the minister here. Yes, we help people. Oh, we'd be glad to help you. What's your need today, sir? Oh, you need food. Yes, sir, we help with food. And what else do you need? Oh, yes, you need your car. Yes, I understand you need some car repairs. We help with that too. Oh, yes, sir, I understand you need some rent. We do that too. Whatever they say, I say yes. I say we'd be glad to help you in some way. I don't commit to how much, but I just say yes, because we're here to help people. I had one man, he said, well, you're a church that helps people. I said, absolutely. He said, well, when are you going to do that? When can I come by? I said, Sunday morning at 9:30, and we can't wait to see you. Not 9:30. So, sir, I don't know if I can make it at Sunday morning. That's okay, because you can come at Sunday evening at 6 o'clock. Oh, I just can't make Sunday. That's okay, because at Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, we can't wait to see you. Oh, I don't have a ride. Don't worry, we'll come pick you up. I don't know. I need help right now. Well, that's okay. There's some social services out there that can tide you over till Wednesday night at 7 o'clock, and we can't wait to meet you. This is exactly what we do at Jacksonville. Let me show you what happens. They show up Wednesday night at 7 o'clock. Hey, Brother Joe, would you grab that back to the Bible? There's this couple here. They need some help. Would you go do a Bible study in room 1? Huh? Yeah, we need you to do a Bible study. Who? Yeah, this couple right here, they come for some help, but we're going to do a Bible study. We are. Is it scriptural to do a Bible study during Bible class? Brethren, if you cannot do a Bible study during Bible class, perhaps we should shut down the church. Of course we can do Bible studies during Bible class. Take the people that need help to room 1. Someone needs to do a Bible study. When's the last time we did a Bible study with someone asking for help from the church? Instead, they go from church to church conning everybody, right? They go to you, then they go to you, then they go back over here and over here, and we give them the gas card for $25. There's no gas card. No, they're going to do a Bible study. And when we finish the Bible study, our elder, our deacon, will meet with them, and we will determine how much we can help them. But we're going to connect evangelism to everything we do from this day forward. Recently, I suggested to a church that they take their Bible camp. You know, anybody ever go to a Bible camp? Bible camps are a lot of fun. And I said, why don't we train our young people how to do Bible studies during Bible camp? They said, what? I said, yeah, what were you going to study this year? They said, Ecclesiastes. I said, well, Ecclesiastes is a wonderful book, but why don't we train them how to do Bible studies? They said, that's a great idea. Brother, did you know I grew up in, these young boys right here, I grew up in the church just like you. I go to every Bible class. I go through all the services, and guess what? No one ever taught me how to do a Bible study. I heard some of the greatest preachers. I heard Tom Warren. I heard Lloyd Deaver. I heard Guy Woods. I went to every lectureship. I went to every meeting. I went all over the brotherhood, and I cannot remember one time someone teaching me how to do a Bible study. Not until my late teen years. So I suggested to this church, why don't we teach our young people how to do Bible studies? And they did. They baptized 27 people that week. You know who some of the greatest evangelists are in your church? They're young men just like this. We got to equip our young men how to do studies. Brethren, equip your soldiers. Put them through basic training. Show them what manhood looks like. Because they're some of the greatest soldiers on earth. Those young people, when you arm them with the gospel of Jesus Christ, they can go into this world and they can teach everybody they know. When will we begin to do our job? No longer can we sit back in our pews and wait. We must train every man and every boy how to do Bible studies. We've got to create an evangelistic atmosphere in our churches. This is what most of our churches look like, by the way. I mean, we do turkey giveaways. Y'all ever do a turkey giveaway? Some churches do. There's nothing wrong with it. If you want to help people with turkeys, go by all means. We do coat drives. You ever do a coat drive? Some churches do coat drives. They give coats to people. I mean, in Ohio, you need coats. In Alabama, we don't need coats. But in Ohio, you need coats. And we do blessing boxes. I've seen the blessing boxes. You know, you put food in the blessing boxes. People come by and get food. Nothing wrong with it. And we do the backpack drive. We do a backpack drive. You know, you give out backpack supplies, school supplies. We're going to do one in Carnes soon. And then we got the benevolent building, teacher supplies, and vouchers. Give them vouchers. Here's the question. How many Bible studies? I'm not opposed to this if it gives me Bible studies. But see, we're not using it for evangelism. Is benevolence a separate work of the church, or is it just one? Jesus came for what purpose? Why did Jesus come? To what?
Seek and save.
Should seeking and saving the lost be the purpose of benevolence?
Oh,
Should seeking and saving the lost be the purpose of preaching? Should seeking and saving the lost be the purpose of our Bible classes? Should seeking and saving the lost be the purpose of everything we do? Yes. If you'll do that, you'll get people like this. Her name is Kim. I got to tell you about this lady. So she gets house to house, heart to heart. Guess what she does? She calls. She saw on the house to house, there was something that said free community services. I didn't tell you about this. Gerald, free community services. Put that on your house to house. free community services. She gets it, and now, do you know why we don't use the word benevolence, Ron? They don't know what that means. The average person out here has no idea what that, you know what it means. They don't know what it means, but they understand free community services. Oh, that's exciting. And oh, yes, they're going to pay for something. Let's call that church. And so we call the church. And she goes, yes, I just moved to the area. Yes. I need some help. Yes. And can you help? Yes, we can help you. When do you, we do it at 10 o'clock on Sunday morning. Oh, but I don't have a car. That's okay because we offer free transportation. Oh, that's wonderful. And so we picked her up. And her name is Kim. And Kim is very friendly. We love Kim. Kim is wonderful. And she's telling us about how she got her children had abandoned her. She had one daughter. She dropped her off, left her. She's in, I think they call it government housing, And so she's in a government, apartment and kind of in a tough spot. And she said, I just need some help. I said, Kim, you come to the right spot. The church will help you. So we go through the Bible study, and she's enjoying it. I said, Kim, what is it you need? I just need some food. I said, no problem. There's a DG. Y'all have DGs in Ohio? They got here yet? Dollar General? Oh yes, they're everywhere. And so every community needs a DG. And so we went to the DG. We got our food. We got our, and even got her a shower mat. She said she kept falling in the shower. $5. We can take care of it. And so we went over to her house. We put in it. Kim? There is mold all over this place. I know. Kim, have you been sick lately since I moved in here? I said, Kim, you have a mold infestation. It's on your walls. It's all over this place. Well, what do you do about it? I said, we'll figure this out. Well, I just made a few calls to the city officials, and it got changed very quickly. And so they had a new place open up. It's amazing what happens, isn't it? They have a brand new place open up. And Rob, that's wonderful, but I can't move all this furniture. I said, of course not. But the church can. Y'all would move me? Absolutely. How many of you men would help move somebody if they needed it for the church? You'd do it, wouldn't you? Oh, yes. So we moved her. Jared and I got our trailer, and Alan Webster and his son and daughter got there. We all showed up, and we're moving Kim over to the next place. And this is Rob, I love this place. Never had a place. This is so wonderful. We're setting up her bed, getting everything set back up. And Nicole and I sit down in the living room. Hey, Kim, can I ask you a question? Yes. Ron, what am I going to ask Kim? Remember my questions? Kim, what do you think about the Jacksonville Church of Christ? Oh, I love it. I knew it. I don't ask questions I don't know the answers to. And Kim, would you like to know more about the Jacksonville? Oh, yes, I'd like to know more about your church. I know you would. And Kim, I just so happen to have these little booklets right here, Kim. And this is back to the Bible book number 1. Nicole, grab your Bible. John 8:32. I don't even give her a chance to say no. She's not going to say no. Guess where she worships today? Guess what happened to Kim? Brethren, we did this 17 times last year. We did this almost a dozen times the year before. You can do this. You can do this. What's the number one thing you've got to do in evangelism? There are 6 steps you've got to take. It's called the evangelism model. I think Brother Ron's going to teach you guys this here at this church. 6 steps you've got to take. The most important step is the first step, because without it, you don't go anywhere. It's important because without it, you can't do anything. What's the one thing you've got to have in order to evangelize? People. People, right? If you don't have people, you can't do it. And so there are people, and we need people, and Jesus was a people person. For some reason, I used to think Jesus was like a hermit. That was my perception of Christ. Ron, boy, was I mistaken. He was not a hermit. Jesus liked to be with people. Everywhere Jesus went, he looked for people, didn't he? Hey, what's the Lord doing out there? There's a woman out there. He's talking to a woman. That's a Samaritan. She's in adultery. What are you doing over there, Lord? That was Jesus. Jesus did not ignore people. He did not allow their sins to keep them from. When Jesus saw a person, he saw someone to help, didn't he? Jesus came to seek and save the lost. He didn't come to call the righteous to repentance, but the sinners to repentance. Brethren, you have got to look for sinners. Contacts. Jesus said in John 4:35, lift up your eyes, look on the fields, for they are what? Everybody? What are they?
Wide unto harvest.
Wide unto harvest. Do y'all believe that? Do y'all believe the fields are wide unto harvest? Yes or no? Are they white unto harvest in this town? They're white unto harvest in every town. Don't ever get to a point in your life where you think this Chillicothe, is that how I pronounce it again?
Chillicothe.
Chillicothe. Don't ever get to a point in your life where you think Chillicothe is not white unto harvest. That's the mistake we've made in this country for far too long. You can't get to the Americans. We've proven that wrong. 1,700 baptisms in the last 40 years. So I know that doesn't work. We had 649 last year. I know we can evangelize America. And I know Chillicothe can be reached. And so we have to reach them by using contact tools. These are tools. One of them is house to house, heart to heart. Y'all already use house to house, heart to heart. I just need to help you use it more effectively. I've talked to your elders already about some things you can do to use it more effectively. I won't talk about all of those, but this right here, think about it. An 8-page color magazine going right into the mailbox, and if you set it up correctly, it's effective. You know, when I started working for House to House, I'm going to open up with you. I'm going to be very conversational. I said, Alan Webster, I said, I will start this school. He asked me to start a school. I said, but I'm not going to sell a magazine. I said, I'm just not going to do it. I said, I will use House to House as one of the tools in my tool chest because it works, but I'm not going to be a salesman. He says, I agree. I don't want you to be a salesman. So I love that about Alan. I'm talking about House to House tonight for one reason, because it works. Not because I've been told to, not because they've made me talk about it. Brethren, I'm talking about House to House tonight because it works if you work it correctly. Now, I was naive when I started. 4 years ago, one of the first churches I walked into was the Eastside Church of Christ. The Eastside Church of Christ is in just north of Chattanooga, Tennessee. And Jeff Archie was the preacher there for many years. I walked in. Now, I walked into the elders' conference room, just like with you guys. They had about a dozen elders. And it was on a conference table. It's intimidating. All the elders sat around the table, and I was at the end. And they said, all right, Rob, what would you like to talk to us about? Now, I was very intimidated. I was sweating. What am I going to tell all these men? These men, much more experienced than I. I said, let's talk about house to house, heart to heart. One of the elders said, that doesn't work. Next. It doesn't work. What do you mean it doesn't work? I baptize people every year because of that. I said, what would y'all mean? Yeah, we tried it for a few months, didn't work. A few months? No, it doesn't work in a few months. That's right. And we move it around all over the town. It doesn't work if you do that either. You're not supposed to do that. And I noticed that in many of our house to houses, if you call the number on the front page, you don't get anybody. You get an answering service. And then I noticed under the services advertised, they're not advertising the things that bring people, like free transportation to the building, free community services, things that actually bring people. They're not even on there. And then I also noticed something else. I noticed, brethren, that they weren't prepared when people actually responded. So when someone responds, you know what the church would do? They would mail something to them. You never mail things to people. You hand deliver it. You go to their door and introduce yourself. I was overwhelmed. I said, brethren, the reason this isn't working is because you're not working it right. And I, from that day forward, have been teaching churches how to properly use this magazine. Now, I can't do that tonight, but I will send you a form that will teach you how to use this. Let me talk about period F. I look back over my shoulder, and there's this lady in the church. She's sitting there. I'd just gotten back from a 3-week trip, and Nicole had went to visit her mama, and Jared and Hannah had gone to see their Nana and Papa, and Mama and Papa. So I moved in behind her after the service. In fact, I asked Alan after he preached. I said, "Is she visiting?" He said, "Yes." So I moved in behind her, and I said, "Ma'am, my name is Rob. What's your name?" "Oh, my name is Ellen." "Are you visiting, Ellen?" "Yes." I said, "Well, we're glad you're here. Ellen, did you like the service this morning?" "Yes, I did." "What'd you like about it?" "That man that preached loves the Bible." "Oh, yeah, Alan loves the Bible. He's really good at it." I said, "Yeah, he's really good." "Ellen, are you alone this morning?" "Well, not real. Well, my husband would be with me. He got sick this morning." "Y'all live nearby?" "Yeah, not far, just a couple miles." "Man, I'd like to meet your husband." "Well, do you have an evening service?" "Just so happened we do." I said, "Why didn't you come back tonight?" He said, "You know what? I'll bring my husband. I'll do that. I really like this church." So sure enough, she brings him that night. So Nicole's back. And so I go introduce my wife. We're talking. His name is Perry. "Hey, Perry and Ellen, we got a custom here." He said, what is it? I said, we like to take people to their favorite restaurants just to get to know them. Really? I said, what's your favorite restaurant here in Jacksonville? He said, now, Rob, it's a little bit expensive. I said, no worries. What is it? Athena's. I said, let's go to Athena's. Really? I said, yeah, I'll take you. Wow, I won't turn down a free meal at Athena's. And I said, okay. He said, but I'm not feeling good tonight. Would you take a rain check? I said, what day do you want to do it? He selected the day. Nicole and I take him over to Athena's that day. We're sitting around the restaurant, right, just eating and talking. I could care less about the lasagna. I have one mission, Ron. I just want one thing. I will get it. I'm sitting around the table. I'm going to bring up some subjects to see where we have agreement. Perry, what do you like? Well, Perry, do you like NFL football? He says, but the thugs, disrespectful to the flag. I said, me too. I don't watch it anymore. Whatever he says, I'm going to. We're going to find agreement. Perry, do you like NBA? Too much money. I said, no, too much money. Perry, I like golf. Too slow. I said, okay, too slow. Perry, what do you like? He said, college football. Oh, no, here it comes. Perry, what team do you like? Go Alabama. Go Alabama. If I've got to like Alabama football to get me a Bible study, so be it, brethren. I just want to get to know the man. And so I said, Nick Saban, he's a good coach, And I'm sitting there holding my breath the entire time and said, so we're talking now about football. Now, this was just over a year ago. Perry, Alabama's had a bad year. He said, I know. Now, you know what a bad year is for Alabama? You don't win the national championship. That's a bad year, And so he said, yeah, Rob, it's LSU and Clemson. I can't believe I said, yeah, it's terrible. And, hey, Perry, do you know what's going on at my house tomorrow? Tomorrow's Monday. What is it? We're having a football party to watch the national championship game. That was my wife kicking me because she didn't know about it. And I said, honey, she knows I do this. And I said, yes. I said, and we're going to have the little sausage balls and the little, the little hot dogs. They put the croissant roast, the mustard. It's very good. And you got the chips and the dips and all. And he said, really? I said, would y'all like to come over and watch the football? And by the way, when I bought my house, the guy that built it put a big theater in it, got like 7 speakers, subwoofer. Never watched a football game. You've seen it on this screen, Perry. He said, oh, honey, can we go to their house for that game? I felt like I was in 5th grade. It was wonderful. And she says, well, of course we can. I have one mission. I just want him in my house. When I get people in my house, I always get to study. We got to the house. We watched till halftime. LSU is blowing Clemson away. Hey, Perry, can I talk to you just for a minute? Yeah, what do you want? I said, I'm just kind of curious. Why did you come to the Jacksonville Church of Christ? There's 12 different churches in Jacksonville. Well, he said, Rob, our church doesn't follow the Bible anymore, doesn't? Why not? He said, well, Rob, do you know when we moved here 21 years ago, we started getting this publication called House to House, Heart to Heart? I said, you did? He said, we like it. Why? Y'all always follow the Bible. Rob, we're looking for a church that follows the Bible. Would you like to know more about us, Perry? He said, I sure would. I just so happen to have these little booklets, Perry. Well, could we sit down and look at them? Sure. John 8:32. 3 weeks. They were more faithful during COVID than our church members were. They were an example to us. They never missed. On the back page there is a room to advertise your events. You need to have events. You need to have events that will take people from this community and put them here on your property. I've done mission work for all my life. I mean, I've gone all over the world. And I noticed something in mission work. If I could do something to bring the people to us, our baptisms rose by 100, 200, 300%. I could spend all my time out there trying to reach people, but if I could do something to bring them to us, it was amazing how quickly we could get those studies. You got to figure out what will bring people here. No gimmicks or gadgets. But you got to figure out, is there something in this community that you could do in these facilities that will cause people to come just to get to know you, just to be around you? Let me give you one example. Vacation Bible School. Y'all just had a Vacation Bible School, Gerald. Was it successful? Did it raise it? I don't want to put any sourness on it at all. I just want to encourage, okay? Next year, when you have a VBS, advertise it in House to House, Heart to Heart. I want you to make sure every family in this community knows you're having a VBS. You know, there are still families that will bring their children to Vacation Bible School, but they won't come to church. And they will drop their children off. And what do we call those people? Step one is called what? Contacts. See, that's how you use it. And you got to figure out what event, because VBSs still bring people. They still work. You know what else works? Church trunk works. That works. You tell the members, hey, we're gonna invite the community to come out to our church, and we're gonna decorate our trunks up and get out free candy. Just meet the community. They will come for that. We would literally run out of candy. Brethren, when a Reese peanut butter cup costs you $3 and you're giving out free candy, they're coming. I promise you they're coming. I mean, it's safe. The church building, these people are nice people. They're safe, You got to figure out what is it that will bring people. Let me tell you what doesn't bring people. We're having a gospel meeting with Rob Whitacre coming here. Do you think they're going to come? Does it matter if it's Alan Webster? Does it matter if it's Glenn Colley? Do you think that person across the street cares? I'm not suggesting that we don't have gospel. I love gospel meetings. But I'm suggesting we've got to figure out how, on the back page of our house to house, to get people here. How about doing an apologetic seminar? Hey, you want to know why we believe in God? Why don't we believe in evolution? We're going to bring in Kyle Putt. He's going to come to this church, and he's going to talk. Or maybe we're going to do it at a school. Maybe we're going to host it at a neutral site. And maybe we're going to try to get people. Maybe we're going to work with your congregation and another church. We're going to all band together. And I mean, there's so much we can do together. It's hard to do individually. These are free offers. Inside house to house, heart to heart, we have free offers. Those free offers right there, those are tracts. And those right there are posters. That's the 10 Commandments poster. We offered it. And notice there are information about marriage. We offer it for free. And people will write. They'll say, hey, I would like the free offer. And guess what we do when they ask for it? We go to their door and give it to them. We don't mail it. We actually go to their door. Her name is Brenda, and she asked for marriage material. I got to her door. I knocked on it. She opened the door. And do you know what she asked me as we talked? My wife and I talked. This is what she asked. Do you know anything about the Bible? That was the question she asked me. Can you imagine going to the door of somebody, Ron, and they say, sir, do you know anything about the Bible? It would be hard for you to answer that with just jumping out of your skin, wouldn't it? I mean, isn't that what you dream about? Somebody saying, do you know anything more about the Bible? We baptized 7 people because of that knock on the door. What would have happened if I mailed that material to her? What would have happened? Nothing. Jesus was a people person, wasn't he? Go meet the people. Spend time with them. Learn them. Brethren, you can do this. You got to make a target list. Every visitor who walks into your church building is a target. Every person you work with is a target. Your neighbor is a target. The ball team members are targets. Everybody you know is a target. Brethren, we must make our target list. No more shooting from the hip. Everybody we know now gets house to house, heart to heart. We make a separate list and we start sending it to them. So we not only send it to an area, now we send it to people individually. We make a target list. We're going to teach people how to go door to door. In our school, I know you won't believe me, but I'm going to say it. We have a 35% success rate at the door. 35. I mean, at 10 doors I knock and someone answers, I will have success 3 times. Now, what is success? Success is getting contact. Success is somebody engaging me in a religious discussion where I can come back, where they want more information, where they want house to house, heart to heart, where they want to know more about the church, where they need assistance, or maybe they need some kind of benevolent help. Community service, 35% of the time, I'll teach you how to do that. I've done it all over the country. Our school has taught churches how to do this. You know why most churches don't, when they door knock, they don't want to door knock? Because they don't get results. They knock on 100 doors, they may get 1 person that shows any interest at all, and no one wants to do it again. I'm going to give you some material, some training material that I hope will help improve those numbers. This is called New Movers. What's New Movers? Well, New Movers is the ability to reach people when they move. David Shannon said at Polishing the Pulpit, he's the president of Free Harbin University, he said, people are most likely to change churches when they move. He said a couple of generations ago, if a couple or a family or an individual moved from one city to another city, they usually stayed with that same denomination. He said those days are over. He said, I don't care what town they were in the last church they were in the last town. I want them to visit a church of Christ. because it's going to give us the best opportunity to sit down and study the Word of God. I want to reach new movers. That's what he said. Now, what can we do? I'll tell you what we can do. We can help you reach them. House to House has the ability to give you the name and addresses of every person who moves into this town. Guess how many people move to Chillicothe, Ohio every month? Take a guess, guys. How many people every month move to this town?
63.
63 a month. Got a guess? Anybody? 36 people move here every month by average. Now, if people are most likely to change churches when they move, and you're the first person that knocks on their door and says, "Hi, welcome to Chillicothe. My name is Rob, my wife Nicole. We have put together a reception basket. We'd like to give you a gift from our community. We're so glad you're here. Is there anything we could do for you?" Oh, that was. Oh, by the way, my wife made you some hot, fresh chocolate chip cookies. That always is a winner. That was really nice of y'all to give us those things. Thank you so much. And where are you guys from? We're just from down the street. We're your neighbor. Oh, by the way, do you guys have a church home? No, haven't had a chance to get a church yet. Hey, there's a great church just down the road if you'd like to know. Well, yeah, I might do that sometime. You have 36 people moving into your city every month. Have you ever noticed when you move that Lowe's always finds you? What's the first piece of mail that you get when you move? Lowe's. And what do they give you? 10% off. And the second piece of literature you get is from Home Depot, and they give you 15% off. They always find you when you move. Right now, my wife is in there. And let me tell you what my wife is telling your ladies. Ladies, we need you to go shopping in the name of the Lord. Huh? Yes, it's God authorized. We want you to, the elders are going to give you $100. They are. Yes. And you're going to go down to the Dollar Tree. We are. Yes. And you're going to make new mover baskets. There they are. We're going to put your women to work. It's amazing what happens when our ladies work. When our ladies are working, it's a beautiful thing in the church. Your ladies have talent. Do you want to go shopping in the name of the Lord? I don't. I have no desire to go to the Dollar Tree. Do you? I don't want to go to the Dollar Tree. They want to go. Let them. And let them prepare new movers baskets. And at House to House, Heart to Heart, do you know what we're going to do? We're going to send them a postcard. 2 weeks later, we're going to send them the special edition of House to House, welcoming them to the community. And then you're going to take that basket with your wife. Always take a woman, don't go by yourself. Take a lady from the church. You're scary. They won't open the door for you. They will open the door for her. See, I always take a woman or a child because it helps me get into the door. They will not open it for you, Ron. You're frightening. But if you take your wife, they will open the door. And you're going to give them the gift. And you're going to give them the new mover basket. It's wonderful. It works. New movers. Let's go to the next one. Cards. We're going to have a robust card sending ministry. This is the number one thing right here. Number one thing we do to get baptisms. Okay, I'm going to give you 2 examples. Number 1, the top car salesman in the United States of America was interviewed. And in the magazine, I read this. He said, the question from the interviewer, why are you the top car salesman every single year in the country? His response, I have a team of ladies that meet in our offices in the back, and all they do all day long is write cards. Yeah, we write cards to people, everybody in our community, every person who's ever bought a car. You just write cards. He said, yep, I just write cards. Cards are power. I'm not talking about a form letter. See, when you have a visitor walk into your congregation and they leave, I don't want you to send a form letter from the church. No form letters. What I want you to do is get every single church member to write a card thanking them for coming. Everybody writes cards. Not one card with 25 signatures. Oh no, Mr. Cheat, we're not listening to you. We're going to get 25 cards, and we're all going to write the card, and we're going to send strategically 5 on Monday, 5 on Tuesday, 5 on Wednesday, 5 on Thursday, 5 on Friday, and they're going to go to their mailbox every day for the next 3 weeks and be overwhelmed with love. Man, you got to know about this church. This church, man, they care about me. This right here is potent. I'll teach you guys how to do this. You know widows can write cards and widowers. And you know you don't get COVID from cards? Unless, I don't know that Dr. Fauci has eliminated it yet. I said, but as far as I know, you can send all the cards you want. You can even lick it and you don't get COVID. It's wonderful. Cards are wonderful. We must send cards. What is she holding in her hand? How did I get this study? I walked into her house because the church had done their job. Your wife sent cards, you sent cards, your wife sent cards. Your children sent cards. Everybody sent cards. I walk into a house with my wife. Hey, my name's Rob. Name's Bettina. I'm from Jacksonville Church of Christ. Oh, that's yes, come on in here. Yeah. Yes, ma'am. It's so nice to meet you. See, sir, let me show you something. Well, these are cards from your church. Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, I've got 37 cards from your church. I count them every day. Look at them. They're all, yes, ma'am. Bettina, what do you think about the Jacksonville Church of Christ? Oh, I love that church. Bettina, do you know anything about the Jacksonville? No. Would you like to know more? Yes. I just so happen to have these little booklets. That's book one, the green book. What do you think she did when we finished? That's Alan Webster standing next to me. Y'all have had him here before. I just want you to know that I'm not teaching you a theory. This is an algebra class. Everything I'm teaching you right now is very practical. I know it works. I know I'm throwing a lot at you. But I met with your elders this afternoon to give them an organizational meeting. And you're going to get this laid out to you one step at a time. It's going to be beautiful. One step at a time, you will transform this church into a soul-saving unit. The Church of Christ was created by God to be an army of soul winners. We are not the Lions Club. We are not the Rotary Club. Brethren, you are the Church of Christ. And it's high past time that the men of the church stand up and be counted. Pick up your Bible and save souls, men. You can do it. The prophet said, quit ye like men. We need men in the church. These are visitor bags. My wife right now is teaching your ladies how to shop in the name of the Lord again. My wife likes to shop in the name of the Lord. And so they're going to make visitor bags. Why? Because we need visitors' contact information. You say, what do you mean? When a visitor walks into the church, we're never going to let them out until I get their name and address. Do you know I have a 100% success rate getting that? I have never failed to get a name and address from a visitor when I do this. Not when I ask them to fill out visitor cards. That's problematic. Sometimes they do it, sometimes they don't. They don't really like to fill out cards. I never ask a visitor to fill a card out. They don't like to do it. But if I give them a visitor bag, if Ron and you and your wife are visiting for the first time, I'm going to role play with you. Let's say you and your wife visited for the first time. My wife and I are the trained family that works with visitors. You need 2 or 3 trained families here. And we'll give you the training material, Joe. I'm going to sit with you. That's one of the things you're supposed to do. What shouldn't you do? Well, let's back up. Barna, y'all know what Barna is? The Pew Research Center. They do surveys, Barna survey. Y'all heard about this before? They did a survey, and this is the question they asked. What is the number one thing a visitor wants to do when they walk into a church? Can y'all help me with this? What would be the number one thing a visitor would want when they would walk into your church? What would it be, Ron?
Well, I know for me, I'd be wanting to simply sit down.
Ron, you're like 1 in a million. But you know he's right. That is the number one thing visitors want to do. It is. They don't want to be greeted. They don't want the welcome wagon. They do not want Gabby Gossip coming up and cornering them. Do not let Gabby Gossip be your greeter. Do not let Mr. Frowny be the greeter. Let Mr. Smiles do it. And let them come in and sit down. Now, when they sit down, a trained family is going to sit with them. Are you visiting this morning?
Yes, sir.
Okay. What's your name?
Ron.
My name is Rob. This is my wife, Nicole. We're members here. Y'all live in the community here, Ron?
We do.
Well, wonderful. Glad you're here. Hey, Ron, we've got something special for you. We got this visitor bag here. It's got some gift items in it, and it's got some paper, a Bible, a pen, and it's got some candies and stuff in it. Man, we're so glad you're here. And Ron, we're a card-sending church. Hey, Ron, would it be okay if I got your name and address so we could send you some cards and thank you for coming?
Yeah, that'd be fine.
I get that every time. I don't give the card to you. You don't want to fill it out. I do. I will fill it out. When a visitor walks into our building and sits down, is that a contact, yes or no, Gerald? No, it's not. Not until I get name and address. It's not a contact. If they walk into this church and walk out and I fail to get that name and address, I have failed. And we fail every Sunday and Wednesday in the Church of Christ. Cameron and Lindsay, they walked in. They said, where you're sitting, that's where they sat. Our preacher, Walked right up to them, and he did exactly what I just trained you to do. He got their name and address, gave them the visitor bag. You know what step 2 is, by the way? Hey, Ron, hey, we just happen to have this custom here. What's your favorite restaurant?
McDonald's.
You better than that, Ron. Come on, Ron.
Arby's.
Come on. Okay. Lone Star. Really? You like the steakhouse? I tell you what. Can my wife and I take you for a steak afterwards? That's what Keith did. So he takes them out to eat, and as they're eating, he says, "Hey, what do you guys know about the Church of Christ?" Well, not a lot. We're actually looking for the church. Oh, really? Would you like to know more about our church? Sure. We just so happen to have these little booklets right here. 3 weeks later, he baptizes them all. Always take visitors out to eat. That's step 2. Step 1 is get contact information. How many times have we taken visitors out to eat? I bet our pharmaceutical reps take the doctors out to eat. You know why, don't you? Why did the pharmaceutical reps take the doctors out to eat? Why?
They went for meds, so.
That's right. Isn't it interesting in the secular world how we understand things like this? Why don't we take our visitors out to eat? Why don't we say, hey, could we take you out to eat? We should be doing that, shouldn't we? I call that the purpose of the church chart. I'm about done. Give me 5 minutes, I'm done. What is the purpose of the church? Ephesians 3, 9, and 10. What is it? What's the purpose of the church?
Manifold wisdom of
To
God.
make known to the world the manifold wisdom of God. I call this the 10% rule. I made this for a congregation of, say, 150. This is the 10% rule. The 10% rule says if this church wants to grow, you must baptize 10% of your membership. You have 60 members. You need 6 baptisms every year. If you have 6 baptisms every year for the next 5 years, you will be a church of 100 in 5 years. We need 10%. We have churches right now in our school that are already hitting 20% in 1 year, 6 months. We have a church right now of 35 that's hit 15%. I got a church of 40 right now, it's hit 15%. I got a church right now of 100 that's hit 20%. They baptized 20 people already this year. When you start hitting those numbers, you got growth. You got to take everything you do at the local church, non-members, non-Christians in your pew, cards, visitors, door knocking, house to house, heart to heart, new movers, digital media, benevolence, and everything focuses on the lost. Will that happen tomorrow? Nope. How long will that take? Probably about a year. If you guys are intentional about this, and I'm going to give you my 1-year curriculum, in 1 year you'll reach this. It'll change your church. You got to populate your contact cards. Brother Ron's going to teach you how to do this. This is potent. This is probably the most potent thing we do in our school. I know it doesn't look potent, but just wait till Ron explains this to you. This right here will change how you look at contacts. This is the Mount Pleasant Church of Christ, North Jefferson. This church right here baptized 20 people with those bookmarks, Ron. 20 people in 12 months. It's amazing what they did. They're holding their bookmarks. We've got to teach you how to do this. I don't have time to do it right now. I'm just giving you examples of things that you can do. Participation. You need everybody to participate, from the youngest to the oldest. Widows and widowers. Young people participate. Number 8, you got to prioritize evangelism in your meetings. It becomes the most important thing you do. Evangelism. Nothing's more important than evangelism. Not paving the parking lot, not fixing the lights, not replacing receptacles, whatever it is. We're going to talk about evangelism first, and then everything else will be dealt with. So we're going to talk about the lost. By the way, Rhonda, are there any people that come to your church maybe once or twice a month that are lost? You can pretty much count on them coming. We're going to talk about them. In fact, we're going to even have a little board in our elder's office. We're going to put their names on it. And every time we meet, we're going to talk about Joe Smith, who's lost. And we're going to talk about how we're going to reach him. And we're going to pray for him. And we're going to mention him by name. And we're going to keep doing that. And I'm going to have nightmares about him. And I'm going to think about him every day of my life until somehow I'm able to reach him. I will make him a priority of this church. If you don't do it, he won't be saved. He'll just be Joe Smith in the pew. We had 5 of those men at Willette. And I went to my elders and I said, can we make saving these 5 men our priority? And they said, yes. What do we do? I said, first, let's write them down on a whiteboard. I said, number 2, let's pray about them every meeting. Number 3, let's talk about them in every meeting. And in 12 months, we baptized all 5. You can do it. You must publicize your mission from the pulpit. You cannot keep evangelism secrets in the elder's office. You must come to the pulpit and tell the church how to do it and what to do. The soldiers must know their orders. They must see a vision. They must understand what their job is. The members need to know what to do. You got to tell them what to do, show them what to do, train them what to do, equip them what to do. What gets pushed gets praised, and what gets praised gets pushed. If you don't talk about it from the pulpit, preachers, it won't happen. You have to make evangelism the theme of your pulpit. And lastly, number 10, instead of praying that we are safe going home, I don't think I've ever heard a prayer miss that. Lord, keep us safe as we travel home. Have you ever heard a prayer miss that one? When is the last time you heard this prayer? God, help us reach Jerry Conley. Who's Jerry Conley? He was someone lost in our pews. And I prayed that prayer at Jacksonville, and people about lost their hats. You mentioned somebody. I did. And we baptized him. Why don't we start mentioning people and praying for them? Let's pray for the lost. Not when they're sitting in the pew. We're not trying to embarrass anybody. Is there anything wrong with us mentioning somebody who's lost and praying that we get to them? We pray for everybody but the lost. Pray for them. You'll never hit a target you don't aim for. Gentlemen, thank you for your time. You've been very patient with us. We are grateful that you've enrolled in our school. We're thankful for the opportunity to present these lessons. You're just getting started. I promise that I'm not leaving you. My spirit stays here. The curriculum will be rolled out over 1 year. I'll be on standby for your elders. The entire staff at our school is here to help you. God has blessed our school. And we're thankful to be a part of a work that's training the saved to teach the lost. And with your help, we're going to reach people right here in this town. May God bless you.